Hello and welcome to Artist Express, our opportunity to learn about the vicissitudes of working and living as an artist in the heart of Kansas. Today with us we have Bruce Lacy, a musician who plays the tongue drums. You just got an example of that work. How did you get started playing the tongue drum, Bruce?
Well, I got started playing the tongue drum since I am a percussionist, and I've been playing percussions for like 20 years. And so I wanted to add to my percussions. So I started surfing through the internet on percussions, and all of a sudden, this came up. So I looked at it, checked it out on YouTube, and I said, oh, I love that sound, I love that sound. So I started doing more research on it and come to love it.
That's great, and I've never seen one of these before. Who thought this up? How did this originate? With the, I don't know if you can, everyone can see the little cuts in the metal that cause the variation in tone.
Yeah.
Where did they originate?
Well, the makers of these are in the Ukraine, but it started from Switzerland. Yeah, back in 2002, two Swiss individuals came up with this drum similar to this one. It's just called the hang drum. It's much bigger than this, and it has a warmer and deeper sound. It's about like this one, maybe that high. And they started mass producing them. Then all of a sudden, it caught on. Everybody started wanting to purchase them, and it got too much for them. So then they stopped manufacturing them.
Oh.
Can you believe that? But its roots are from the Caribbean and Africa.
And that's what I pictured when I read the words.
Yeah.
But had no idea that they looked like this, that they were rounded instead of like those flat ones that you so often see.
This one is called a frisbee.
Oh,
it looks
of course,
like a
it
frisbee.
does look that way, doesn't it?
Yes.
Well, what age or time of life were you when you discovered that you were creative musically?
Oh, my goodness. I was looking probably about when I was 8 years old. I saw an old film of my uncle getting me out of bed to teach him a new dance. And so I taught him how to do the dance. And then I started singing, you know, just singing. I was sang in the choir in church. And then it hit me when I became 13 years old. And I was like, oh, I can do this. So then I started singing, writing my own songs, forming groups, bands, and then been doing that ever since.
And that's quite a little while, isn't
it? Yes.
And where did you live when you began doing this?
In Brooklyn, New York.
Wow.
That's where I'm from. I was born and raised.
So how did you get from Brooklyn, New York to Salina?
Okay, here's the journey.
It's a journey,
that's
journey. Right.
From Brooklyn, New York, after high school, I joined the military. I joined the Air Force, and they shipped me all the way to California. And then from California, that's where I met my wife, and she's from here. She's from Salina, Kansas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's how we became to be here in Salina.
So you have Salina roots by way of your wife.
Yes.
That's great. Well, do you have a favorite piece? You mentioned that you were writing songs as well as performing them. Do you have a favorite piece that you've written?
Yes, you mean on my
at any time?
Any time. Yes, one of my songs that we wrote. My wife wrote it as a poem, and then I put the music to it, and we both produced it. She's the co-producer on it, and it got to be in a movie.
Oh, how
a film.
wonderful. So what's the title? Is it on one of your CDs?
No, it's not on.
Not on
oh,
these?
Wait a minute. I think it is. It's on the Reflection
Reflection.
CD.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's the most recent CD you've done.
Yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh. And the name of the tune is, oh, my goodness.
It's Fled.
It's coming. Wait. Scent of History.
Ah.
That's the name of the tune.
And were you working with the tongue drum at the time you wrote that? So what instrument did you play along with that?
Well, I have a MIDI controller, which I can play many instruments through my MIDI controller keyboard. So I'm not really a keyboard player, but when I hear it in my head, I try to find it on the keyboard, and then I can play it.
Right.
So.
Okay. Great. That's amazing to me.
Yeah.
And now, I noticed in some of the material that you gave me that you have you kind of gravitated toward the tongue drum as a result of some health issues.
Yes.
So you had a heart attack as well as a stroke.
Yes.
And
I had
then
2009, the heart attack, 2014, the stroke.
And so
from that, it was hard after the stroke, especially. It was kind of a challenge to remember things.
Sure.
And also I had paralysis on my left side. So when I tried to play the bass, and my fingers just went.
Right.
I tried guitar, I tried various instruments, and I just couldn't, I would say master them, or try to. And so when I found this instrument, all I needed to do is use my hands, or I use mallets.
Right.
Really nice sound with mallets.
Yeah. Well, so at no time did you consider giving up music just because it was harder?
No.
Yeah.
It was to be honest, it was a lifesaver. It is a lifesaver.
Right.
It's therapy for me.
Right.
And playing the drum has helped my memory, has helped the paralysis that's on my left side. It has many healing benefits.
Now, I noticed too that you are really interested in teaching.
Yes.
And every teacher keeps learning, but
yes.
Have you worked with anyone who, so far who has benefited in the same way from the tongue drum? Have you worked in health settings or anything?
Yes, I'll be working with the mental health community, the two organizations that are here. I think one is the Kansas Mental Foundation, and I can't remember the other one. It's the one we went to.
We went to the
seminar with.
Yes, the
had
mental
our
health
training.
first aid training.
Yes,
we took that together.
Yes, we did. Yeah,
It was most interesting.
So I'll be working with that organization also.
Great.
So.
And then, do you prefer to, if you're doing a teaching session, would you prefer to work with a single student or with a group?
Oh, we can do either or.
Okay.
But I really prefer working, excuse me, I really prefer working with a one-on-one.
One-on-one.
Yeah,
okay.
because then you can really see the progress of the individual.
Right.
And plus you won't have others just sitting around not doing anything.
Right.
Since I only have 2 drums.
Right.
I plan to get about, I hope to get about 4 more.
Great. Good.
Then I can do it in a larger setting.
And for someone who wanted to learn this skill, what would be the absolutely essential prerequisites? What qualities or abilities would they need to have in order to be successful at this?
To be honest with you, none.
None. Okay, that's encouraging.
Yeah, because when I went to one of the mental health organizations, and I took the drum out and I sat it on her lap, and she just started, ooh.
Yeah.
She said, ooh. And then she just picked it up right away.
That's great.
You know?
So you really didn't have to say anything.
No.
I was going to say, what would be the first thing you'd tell a new student or share with them? But basically just the drum. That's all you have to share. That's exciting.
I say, do you want mallets or you want to use your hands? And most of the time they use mallets.
Right. Well, and I noticed in your materials too, you mentioned Zen drumming or with some initials in front of it.
It's the same thing. It's called a Gouda.
Gouda, that's what I remember.
Which is G-U-D-A, Gouda Zen Percussion.
Okay, and so that's
the company.
I see. Yeah. Okay, exciting. Okay. Well, I do have some copies of CDs that you have made, and I know that you told me this one was made part of the time when you lived in California. And finished after you arrived in Salina.
Yes.
And that you wrote all of the songs on it. Now, how long have you lived in Salina?
10 years.
10 years. And so the other two CDs that you have produced in the past look like they're from, were they both made in California when you lived there?
Both of those were made in California, yes.
Exciting, yeah. Well, would you want to play a longer piece for us now?
Yeah, about 2-3 minutes.
Okay,
That'd be okay?
Sure. Bruce, I could talk to you for a much longer time. I have lots more questions. I'd love to get into the dance connection, but we're out of time. So thank you very much for coming, and I hope that you have performed an educational service today, because I don't think there are any other tongue drums in Salina right now.
Oh, well, thank you, Connie. Appreciate it.